And a very pleasant Tuesday night to everybody. Welcome to Ridgecrest Talk. Our theme tonight, as always, is sports. I'm Tom Heck and Chris Branson. With me, Chris Branson, just a potpourri of wealth when it comes to information about what's going on with the youth activities in the community. And right now, quite a bit going on, including club basketball, Little League baseball, the 5th grade basketball league now finishing up. And I'm also with his youngest son, Corbin, who's a member of the very tough Las Flores Fighting Lion team that is right now in the championship of the 5th grade league. Let's start with you, Corbin, if you don't mind. Be nice and loud, but tell us about the 5th grade league this year. Had a lot of fun?
Yeah, the Richmond team is probably the team to beat, and they're in the championships right now.
Mm-hmm. Now, what do you have to do to beat Richmond?
Cut to the basket and good defense and don't foul.
And don't foul. Okay, those are pretty good words. What's your favorite sport now? I know you also play baseball, but which is your favorite sport?
Basketball. Right now it is.
Basketball?
Yeah.
You going to play tackle football next year, maybe?
Yeah, I'm playing tackle football.
Wow, okay. He is. Another thing he doesn't play. Chris, tell us about first of all, you coach 5th grade basketball league. You were the head coach of Las Flores when they won the thing a couple years ago. Tell us about what goes on in that 5th grade league, who all participates, and what the final championship tournament is all about, and kind of the excitement that it builds with it.
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity for all the schools, elementary schools in Ridgecrest, to come together, and they get a chance to play up here at a nice gymnasium. They have all the private schools, the charter school, and all the elementary schools. So I think there's about 8 or 9 teams in the league. Mm-hmm. And then it culminates with a big tournament up here, a 2-3 day tournament up at Saracoso, and it's a great time. Get to play the long way on the gym, which makes it real exciting for the kids, I think.
Now, during the week, during the regular season, you play usually every Wednesday night and occasional Monday night, but you get to practice also during the week sometime?
Yeah, I think they practice twice a week.
Yeah, Mondays and Tuesdays.
Now, where did you practice at?
Our school.
Outside in the...
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's, not everybody has a gymnasium. Being in California with the weather like it is here, we don't really need one so much at the lower levels. But, Chris, when you were coaching, did you get the same thing once or twice a week to practice?
Yeah, I think they are very strict on the rules, so they don't want too many teams getting extra practices. But yeah, I was definitely that guy that maximized my opportunities to practice. So I think it was 2 or 3 times a week.
Now let's talk about your other sport. Well, your older brothers are much involved in stuff also. But talk about your brothers. What's it like growing up with 2 brothers that play everything, that do everything? I know you're following in their footsteps because they play both basketball and baseball, but talk about that for us.
They're really good at both sports, and they really like to teach me stuff, and sometimes they pick on me a little, but it's more fun.
Okay, well, I'm glad they pick on you just a little bit. That's okay. Now, they're very good baseball players, and that brings you to my next part I want to talk about, baseball. Chris, talk about what's going on right now in the IWV with baseball and also some of the club ball opportunities there are in the community.
I know Corbin's team, he's on the Mustang 9 and 10-year-old, and they were in the championship game. Just played a great game last Thursday against the Diamondbacks, who always play us tough. It was an 8-5 win, 40-mile-an-hour gusts.
Oh.
And felt like 30 degrees. A little rain too, but we fought through it and got out with a good win. And the Twins actually just played their second playoff game today and won a 3-2 nail-biter against the undefeated Yankees. And so that was a great win. And there's been a couple other teams. I know the Dogs are still playing quite a bit of baseball and doing quite well down in their Bakersfield League, and occasional tournaments here and there, and they're headed to that big World Series tournament in Tahoe in July.
Yep.
And the Twins aren't playing ABL right now, but the pony team seems to be doing really well on their weekend tournaments, and they're getting ready to, make that all-star team, and they look like they're going to be a really good club to maybe advance 1 or 2 times.
Mm-hmm. Now in the IWV, how many actual teams do they have in each age division?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember how many when I was a kid, but a couple years ago it was more than it is now. So it seems like we dropped a couple this last time, but I know we seem like we got a new focus for to really build that up again in the valley. But right now we're looking at 3 teams for the 12 and 13-year-olds, and only 4 teams in the Bronco and 4 teams in the Mustang, and I think they might have 6 in the younger crowd. But it's tough to keep kids in baseball. I think it's one of those sports that is a little bit harder.
Okay, we're going to take our first break. When we come back, don't go away. More from Chris Branson and Corbin Branson after this timeout. And welcome back. Tom Heck with Chris Branson, Corbin Branson. If you just tuned in, this is Ridgecrest Talk. Our theme is community sports tonight. Chris is a longtime coach in the community, different sports. Corbin right now finishing 5th grade basketball league, also plays club baseball, also going to play football. Corbin, when I ask you this, talk about football. I know you played flag football, right?
Yeah.
How'd that experience go?
It was good. We barely lost last year against the Bears in the semifinals to go to the championships.
The Bears, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, now what position did you play in flag football?
Mostly running back and wide receiver, running back, and QB.
Oh, QB, okay. Well, you're a quarterback. Well, throw the football, huh? Wow.
Yeah.
Now, you're going to play club baseball in the fall, correct?
Yeah.
Chris, talk about the club baseball and where you have to go to play it and who's all in that league.
Yeah, the 9 and 10-year-old got a group of kids that have been together for 2 years now and getting lots of reps together, and they're in a pretty competitive league down in Bakersfield. So they'll head over there every other weekend, and hopefully after All-Stars, Corbin will join that team back up and really start to hone his baseball skills.
Mm-hmm. Now, it's a long drive, a lot to play in the club, isn't it? You have to travel everywhere. Now, right now, your other 2 boys, the older brothers that don't beat you up too much, Corbin here, they're playing club basketball now. Also, if you can imagine trying to juggle everything they juggle. Talk about the club basketball and how many teams from Ridgecrest are there, and where do they have to play?
Yeah, I know there's 2 different club teams that are 13 and under, and I think there's also a 14 and under team, and the Twins are on the 13 and under, and they joined a league down in Los Angeles. So every other Sunday we head down there for a doubleheader. The 13U play, then 14U, and then 13U, 14U. So it's been a good experience. We switched teams. We went to Skip's team this year, and just the having the routine of being in that league and getting to play every other Sunday was really attractive to us, and the practice schedule is very consistent. Mm-hmm. So they've been practicing a couple times a week and then playing every other weekend down there.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you practice, where do you usually practice at during the week?
Yeah, they've rented out the Kerr-McGee Center, so that's part of the club fees includes that gym. Mm-hmm. So that's nice.
Yeah, that's not a bad practice place. You're able to do that at least once a week usually?
Twice
a week, okay.
Tuesdays and Thursdays.
And what time can you fit in there?
So they juggle that with baseball practice. So I told them baseball takes precedent because they started that first. So
mm-hmm.
It's 6:30 to 8:30, and if they don't have basketball practice, and if they do have baseball, they'll get the second half. So we're usually taking 2 sets of stuff and running over to the next one.
Now, as far as homework goes, when does that fit in?
I have to ask those teachers because I don't think I see any of my boys do hardly any homework, but they seem to always have straight A's, so I'm not sure how they do that.
You're not sure.
I didn't see
Well,
much.
I wish it would have worked that way when I was when I was in school. Wow, gosh. All right, so you got club baseball. You're doing basketball right now. What are you going to do all summer long?
I'm gonna do lots of swimming with friends, and I'm hoping I can still play basketball and baseball.
You're hoping?
Yeah.
Okay. And now, Chris, in high school, you played baseball, didn't you?
Yeah,
That was your favorite sport?
that was.
Yeah. Talk about your Burroughs days real quick before we take our break here.
Yeah, had a lot of fun. Got the opportunity to play shortstop as a freshman in Burroughs' first playoff game in so many years, and got to play down there at Bishop Amat and had a great game. That was probably the highlight of my high school career.
Mm-hmm. You're referring to a playoff game, right? Now talk about a little bit about the transition from what you would say from, let's say, the IWV league into high school. Is that a pretty big jump up as far as what the pitchers throw and different kind of pitches?
Yeah, it's a big jump, and I think that's why there's only 12 left. By the time you get there, it's a great sport, but I think it's one that you have to love, especially here in the valley where you could be playing in 30-mile-an-hour winds and 40-degree weather.
Wow, sure is, huh? All right, we're going to take our second break. When we come back, we'll have a little bit more with Chris and Corbin Branson. This is Ridgecrest Talk on Tuesday night here in the IWV. Back after this timeout. And we're back. If you just tuned in, I'm Tom Heck with Chris Branson, Corbin Branson. Our community sports theme is our discussion tonight. And Chris and Corbin play about everything there is to play. All sports. And Chris played high school baseball here for Burroughs. And Corbin's playing club this, club that, and club everything. Got to ask you this, Chris. You're out all the time in different sports. How, for the most part, are the spectators / parents acting these days? Are there times when you want to make corrections? Are there times when you become one of those angry mob out there? Or talk about what problems that can bring, or support that can bring also.
Yeah, I would have to say my experiences, and I don't know if it's just me getting a little bit more mature, but it seems like the spectators have been doing better the last couple of years. I know I myself have doing quite a bit better. I know Justice Scott was down doing a clinic for all the coaches and kind of reiterated the fact that we're not doing the kids any kind of service when we call out the umpires or the refs, because next thing you know, the kids are going to be doing that too and giving them an excuse. Nothing good can come of it. We live in a small town. We get the best that we can, and it's really our job to control what we can control and celebrate the kids and not worry about the things that we can't control. So I know for myself, I look back at when 5 or 6 years ago, being out there and all the heartache I would give the rest. But yeah, still not perfect. I still sometimes get in the moment and it gets the best of me, but. Yeah, it's very important, and I'd like to see the community continue to, get better with how they treat the refs.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know that the high school rule is that if you're a coach or a player and you're thrown out of a game, then automatically you have to sit the next game. So CIF, as far as high school goes, have really come down on things. Junior high schools have different rules per league, and the private leagues, I'm sure, have different rules for them also. But the theme is basically it's supposed to be for the kids. And in my years officiating community sports, sometimes I've run into the fact that people forget that fact, which kind of makes it tough on everybody else. Hey, let's talk about professional baseball, Corbin. Who's your favorite team out there?
Dodgers by far.
The Dodgers by far. Now, besides the fact that you and I and Chris and everybody watching this right now cannot watch the Dodgers here unless it's a national game of the week. Kind of a bummer because they're not on TV. We don't get to hear Vince Scully because unless you have Time Warner,
Yeah.
which nobody up here in the high desert has, including the Victor Valley area and Hesperia, I believe, in Apple Valley, we can't watch Dodger games, which is a real bummer, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, and I bring that up, which is a whole other, more maybe an adult topic about how people have really, taken it away from the fans. Some of that's really turned a lot of fans off. Does that frustrate you as a young Dodger fan that you can't watch your team?
Yes, it does frustrate me a lot.
How many Dodger games did we watch 2 years ago?
Like every time it came on.
Every time it came on. Well, last year it came on Time Warner, and how many times did we get to watch the games on Time Warner? 0. 0, 0, 0. So that's kind of tough. But hopefully there'll be some adjustments where everybody again can watch the Dodgers who want to watch the Dodgers, which we all occasionally like to listen to Vince Scully at least. He's a legend out there. Well, Chris, what about you? What do you think about right now going on in the professional sports world? Let's talk about something that's come up all the time lately. If you tune into any talk show right now, anywhere, they're talking about Deflategate, the Tom Brady scenario. Now, I know you're a football fan, Corbin. Chris is a football fan. You're going to play IWV tackle football this year, which I want to end on here. But your thoughts on that? Tom Brady, footballs, any remedy, what do you do with them? They're talking about suspensions. They're talking a lot of stuff that's pretty severe. Does a crime, fit the punishment fit the crime, or was there a crime in the first place?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not one to, pass judgment on anybody. There's always that chance that he didn't do it. I would say that, chances are he probably knew something. I wish during the Super Bowl or the game before he would have, maybe been a little bit more honest with what he did know. But either here nor there, doesn't matter. I mean, should they be allowed to put whatever amount of air they want in the footballs? That's kind of where I'm leaning towards. Seems like we're making a big deal out of, too much of a big deal out of, the Deflategate stuff.
Well, my thought, how about a simple remedy? Both teams use the same football. In baseball, both teams use the same baseball. In basketball, both teams use the same basketball. In soccer, both teams use the same soccer ball. In pretty much every sport we can possibly think of, they use the same ball or puck. But for whatever reason, in football, and I didn't even realize this, that each team has their own his and her footballs.
But it's still the same model and make, right?
It's still the same model and make.
Yeah, so you would think that they would just hand it back and forth. That's interesting.
Yeah, it is. Anyway, I want to end on the IWB football. Now, that's a very popular sport in town. Our freshman football team was undefeated this year, and all those kids came up from the IWB ranks. They had the championship IWB senior team 2 years ago. This last year, the team went 12-2 and were second overall. So that's been a great feeder system for the high school. But a lot of kids are involved in the IWB, aren't they, Chris, with the football?
Yeah, it seems to be the biggest calling for all kids in the valley, and just seems to grow every year. I don't know if the head injury stuff will cause anybody to maybe take a second look at it, but yeah, we seem to love football here in the valley, and I know talked to Todd this morning, and he said he's 6-0 in passing league and looking forward to having his best year as a varsity coach at Burroughs, and couldn't do that without the program that he's been helping build at IWV.
Mm-hmm. Corbin, your thoughts on the football? You like to get in the pads and get out there as soon as you can?
Yeah.
And what do you want to play this year position-wise in tackle?
I probably want to play either running back or wide receiver.
Running back or wide receiver? Well, good choice, because I know your brothers, the bookends, they like to catch the football and run the football also.
Yeah, they love that.
Okay, real quick, I'm going to put you on the spot. Championship game today, Las Flores. You have to play against a pretty good ball club out there in Richmond. Who's going to win that game?
I'm hoping we are.
I like that answer. Chris, appreciate you coming by. Corbin, appreciate you stopping by. We'll have you guys again. We'll see you next Tuesday. This has been the Ridgecrest Talk, our theme tonight, community sports. For Chris, I'm Tom Heck, and Corbin, bidding you a pleasant good evening. This has been a sports production of KZGN-TV.